Texas Heat, Texas Heat. What's up? What's up? What's up? Man, I hope y'all are having it's just midweek. We are midweek, and we have had some. We've had some playoff games. We've had some playoff games, and we are about to have a few more playoff games come up. And so I definitely want to make sure that we get some kind of content out to discuss what the heck has happened, because we had a lot happen in these last few games, and we are right next to the Super Bowl. So definitely going to give a little bit of breakdown, just give my perspective. Man, you guys are definitely missing out by not joining the voice chat during these games, because there has been I'm not going to say betting, but definitely some back and forth confidence being people boosted up, heart broke, all kind of stuff that it seems like we were able to see in these playoffs. So I'm going to do a quick breakdown, because I do believe that these games are going to get started tonight, and so I want to make sure that I don't miss anything or miss the opportunity to give some type of perspective of what we got to see in that, not only just the divisional round, but really the entirety of the playoffs itself. But really quick, just going to go down. So the first game that we are going to look at was probably the shocker for me. This was the shocking W out of all of them to me. I was actually more shocked in the win of Justin James over Austin, which Austin did relay that he had lost to Justin James earlier during the season. I didn't know that. I wasn't really keeping up as far as that detail is concerned. And Justin James pulled this game out. He took it home. He's going to the next round. He's going to be playing Rome, 38-21. Definitely a good game by Justin James. 335 passing yards, 64 rushing yards. Austin obviously was able to run the ball in this game, but ultimately, Justin James started the game 10-0, and he pretty much held on to that advantage for the remainder of the game. He did have more turnovers than Austin in this game, but ultimately, Justin James pulls it out. He's in a conference championship. I mean, I don't know what to tell y'all, because I didn't expect this. I expected to see, I said it in the beginning, I thought Austin was on that chase to get to a bowl and make some noise. And, it just, sometimes it just doesn't play out the way you think it's going to play out. I mean, you see that happen even in real life as well. But, what a shocker this game was definitely to me. I maybe a few people felt this way in the chat. I know in the voice chat from last night, there was definitely kind of some eyes open or eyes surprised at kind of the result. We did have a user that was a little too happy that Austin lost this game. Not going to call out anybody, but there was definitely someone that had a lot on their heart with the end result. So shout out to Justin James. He's in the conference championship. We'll see what he does against Rome. The next game, staying in the NFC, Rome and Colton. In the beginning, this was a pretty decent fight. It's a pretty decent fought game. They were really kind of going back and forth. There wasn't too many crazy mistakes in the first half. And one of the things I had mentioned in the wild card show going into the divisional round with this game was it was going to come down, in my opinion, to how would Rome's offense play against Colton's defense. I thought that was going to be the difference in the game, and we were able to see that in the game. 76 rushing yards, 190 passing yards, probably not up to the number that Rome would want to have in a game, especially going against Justin James this next round, that will be able to pass the football and definitely will pass the football. But 190, 76 yards rushing. Colton really kind of continued to play pretty decent in this game from the first game going against Slick in the wild card. Just, a turnover. He had a few turnovers that were really costly, I thought, especially in that third quarter period. But Rome was consistent. Rome was consistent. Hey, he's got those old receivers, and it panned out for him in this game. Ritter played just decent enough for him to pull this game out. Took me a minute to figure out who I wanted to choose as far as winning this division and taking this division division, winning this playoff game and getting to the conference championship. Because again, what I saw Colton do in that wild card, I kind of expected him to continue that. And then also Rome not having the schedule and then playing someone that has kind of had to play some playoff style games to get into the playoffs. That can kind of be a tricky position because, they kind of you kind of run into a user ready to go. But ultimately, Rome held on long enough to get the dub and finds himself in a conference championship. So going over to the AFC, man, I'm telling you, if you did not watch the game, these two games in the AFC, absolutely insane. They were absolutely insane. I could literally start in either one of these games and do a breakdown, but I don't know how you don't talk about this game that Nike had with Young. I'm telling you right now, if there was a time to take out Young in the playoffs, Nike had him. Nike 100% had Young on the ropes in this game. And it's, I guess you'd say for 39 minutes or how many, what are we playing? 7-minute games? He literally had this game in the exact position he wanted to up until the last 2 plays of the game. Young obviously got back in the game. Knight got up. He got up 21-7. He got up 21-7 in this game going into the half. Obviously, there was a few possessions that happened in this game. He got some turnovers on Young in this game. He got him fumbling in this game. And he the thing that I was impressed with Nike in this game was he did what kind of hoped he would do, and he played a balanced game. He was balanced on the offensive side of the ball. He trusted Derrick Henry. Obviously he only ran for 77 yards, but he ran the ball. He did just enough to make Young respect his offensive prowess with the Oilers, and obviously that young receiver Keaton that he has. 198 yards, Schwartz 199. Basically 2 receivers went off in this game. But if you didn't catch this game, there were crazy plays happened in the first half and then in that fourth quarter. Young has a 4th and 2 in the fourth quarter. Obviously, it's an opportunity to go for it in the game. But if he doesn't get that first down, pretty much it gives Nike the ball at the 45-yard line, I believe. Now, if you didn't hear yesterday, again, in the voice chat, I couldn't see this game or a few of these games yesterday. So I got to actually kind of give a shout out to Ivan and Brad and I think a few other people that were in the voice chat doing a little play-by-play. It definitely was beneficial just to hear kind of what was going on. There was a 4th down that happened. Young goes for it, and he has a fumble. So now at this point, Knight gets the ball at the pretty sure 45, 46-yard line, something like that. He's driving down to get to the end zone. He has Keaton down the field wide open. He underthrows him. He does catch the ball, but he underthrew him, and which basically puts him in a position, obviously, to still be able to score. There's 15. I think he's at the 14 or 15-yard line, and there's about 25 seconds left. And he couldn't get in the end zone. And there was, from what it looked like watching the game, it looked like on the very last play, he threw the ball away thinking he was going to be out of time. That's what I think what happened is he threw the ball away and the ball didn't get out of bounds fast enough for him to have 1 second on the clock to get him another play or another shot at the end zone. But there was never a better opportunity in my opinion for him to take out Young in this game. Young did not start this game well at all, which for people that have played Young for at least the last Madden or two, that's kind of a typical out of Young. It's kind of typical to see him have a first half that is not really too polished, and then in the second half he's an adjustment god, and then all of a sudden turns it around. Well, in a lot of ways, that's how he won this game. The way he won this game, from what I saw, was in the first half, Nike was able to run the ball, be consistent with the run game, dink and dunk pass when he had to. And then what Young basically did is got to the second half and just said, hey, I'm basically going to slow down your run and force you to pass the ball. And then that's when the mistakes started happening. Because Nike only had 2 turnovers in this game, but that's when the mistakes started happening for Nike in this game that ultimately allowed Young to get back into the game and ultimately compete in order to win. So this was one of my favorite games to see. And to be very honest with you, this Madden, I mean, the back and forth between seeing Nike kind of have Young on the ropes, and then the next play, or then the very next drive, Young throws a bomb to Schwartz. You know, it just, that's kind of the stuff that I hope for when we are kind of the things I hope to have in the league. Is I don't really care about who wins or loses. I just care about the games being competitive. I just don't care to see blowouts. That's really all it is. So shout out to Young. He's back in that conference championship. And of course, last but not least, let me tell you, a rivalry that you probably didn't expect. You know, I mentioned it yesterday that Gideon had beat Smitty the last time that they had played in Texas Heat. And the funny thing is, even back then, Gideon had also told Smitty that he was going to beat him, and that's what he did. And then in this game, he jumped in the voice chat, told us what he was going to do when he played Smitty, and I'd be damned. He did that again, and this time it was in the playoffs. Now, obviously, Smitty has more wins over Gideon than vice versa. So Smitty's definitely holding the crown over the most wins. Like Gideon does not have the win-loss total against Smitty, but Smitty absolutely. He didn't walk in this game with enough respect for Gideon, in my opinion. He actually walked in this game pretty much with the mindset of getting a dub against Gideon. A few things that I captured in this game. The very first one was the defensive style. I thought Smitty's defensive style, or choice of defensive style against Gideon, mainly on third down in the first half, it just didn't play in his favor, playing against a guy that has the receivers he had with that team. So that was the first thing. The second thing was the turnover side of the ball. Smitty he's not one that really has a bunch of turnovers. And he was very loose with the football on the offensive side. So I give Gideon credit there for making Smitty not kind of be his norm. And, one of the things he does well is he executes. He doesn't have a lot of plays that he chooses from with those Ravens, but he does execute. As far as the sets that he chooses, and you've just simply got to stop it. And so I give Gideon credit for that, because he was up in this game early. 7-0 in the first, and then it was 28-7 by half, which you can obviously see on the screen. And then, of course, as expected, Smitty got a stop at the end of half, had an opportunity to score at the end of the half. That didn't pan out. However, he got ball at half, he scored, and he actually got the stop. He got the one stop that he needed to make it a 2-score. He scored, made it a 2-score game, and then he got a stop, got down to the red zone, kind of has a goofy mistake happen in that game that really kind of backfires for him. He gets in the fourth quarter, and then he starts getting on a tear again. He's now switched back to the mindset, in my opinion, of the defense that he should have probably had in the first half against Gideon in this game. Gideon looked like Brett Favre to me. He really did. He was just basically playing to not make a mistake, and he had one mistake in the game. All he had to do was and to be very honest with you, he took the same game that he used against Legend against Smitty. He had a balanced offense. He was taking what the table was giving him, and Smitty didn't change that up until the second half, or what I would consider playing his style of defense until the second half of that game. Ultimately, the 3 turnovers to 1 makes a difference in this one, and again, there was a late turnover in this game where I thought Smitty could have at least gotten 3, and that 3 ended up haunting him by the time this game ended. But you got to give all credit to where it's due, because here's the thing: you can't win them all. You can't win them all. I've only seen 3 guys in league play have 3 peats when it comes to Madden, and that's been Colton, that was C-Dev, and that was Brady. Those are the only 3 that I've ever seen have a 3-peat on Madden. Now, obviously, Smitty's not in a 3-peat situation, but as far as getting back to the conference championship, hey, getting back there 3 straight times is still an accomplishment. He wasn't able to get there for the 3rd straight year. We'll see what he has to do with those Ravens. And I'm really interested to see how Gideon's going to play in this next round against Young. I'm curious if he's going to take that same balanced style against Young. And I'm also curious how well people are paying attention to the switch up that we've had amongst these simulation comp aspect of the season. Going over to these final 2 games, and this is, I don't remember, I don't think it was last season, I think it was the season before, where the 2 guys that had a bye week both made the Super Bowl. There's a pretty good chance that that's going to happen again, but obviously you want to pay respect. So we're going to go ahead and just start going back to the NFC between Rome and Justin James. Now, obviously, Justin James is going to lose a trait. I need to check and see where what time they're planning, because I believe it's around 8 or 9 Central. So there will be a trait that is lost on Justin James' team. I mean, I'll just go ahead and show it live. Justin James will be losing a trait. We haven't decided on that trait just yet, and I'm really trying to hold off on that trait until he gets closer to his game. Typically, the rule of thumb is to allow the user he previously played to choose the trait. I'm going to let the admin make that choice, because I don't really know who I should actually take from him. Hell, this team's got enough traits that it may not even matter. In my opinion, it would probably be Justin Fields, just because I think he's a difference maker. So we'll see what the admins have to say in regards to the actual trait that he does lose. But this is another game for Rome, in my opinion, where it's going to be his offense versus the other user's defense. I just think the defensive side of the ball that Rome's had to see in the last 2 teams, the first team in Colton with those Eagles, and then obviously getting ready to play against Justin James with those Niners, showing it again, having Desmond Ridder as a QB. Bijan is definitely going to be a plus, but he's got old guys, and the crazy thing about it is he doesn't have a lot of speed. He has very little speed on this team, and he's been able to have production on the offensive side. Where when you go over to the Niners and look at that team and look at what they have currently on the defensive side, if you were just looking at this on paper, just on paper alone, very similar to the last game, you would say Rome is pretty much done as far as getting to a bowl. Now, where he's going to luck out, which I'm just kind of seeing this live, is that for Justin James, he doesn't have a lot of speed at corner, which that's going to be interesting as far as that matchup between him and Justin James. Is that there actually may be an advantage for Rome here. Not a lot of speed at corner. He's not a lot of speed at safety either. Though I don't know. Now the more I break this down, because obviously it looks like Justin James made more moves than I probably recognized in the beginning, but. This actually may be more of an even battle than I realized. Looks like Justin James, very similar to Rome, has just been able to make a bunch of plays. But obviously, looking over at the Snowhawks, which was originally the Falcons, not a lot of speed. This is going to be an interesting matchup between the two. What? In my opinion, just looking at these teams now. I think the difference you're going to see is Kyle Pitts and George Kittle. I wonder who goes off first in these games. So it may come down to the defensive side for both users. I'm not really sure if Rome can stop Justin James, and I think the same thing for Justin James against Rome. I think this is actually a pretty even fight between the two. It's going to come down to obviously just the turnovers, because they seem more even than I guess, really had in my mind at the time. As far as winning the game, last week I did say that I thought Rome, after going back and forth, I thought Rome may get Colton just because there was a little bit of concern there of the consistency on the offensive side of the ball. But I didn't have Justin James over Austin last week. I'm actually going to go with Rome again. I'm going to go with Rome over Justin James because I still don't believe. It's funny. There's actually two people playing in the NFC Conference Championship right now that I do not believe in. Two of them. Two. And that's what makes it fun. That's what makes it interesting, is because Rome is proven as far as skill, and so is Justin James, both proven as far as skill. But ultimately, I'm actually going to go with Rome because, again, I understand Justin James won a game last week. However, at the same time, Justin James, I've seen the freeze up. I have seen Justin James freeze up in a playoff game. Very similar to Jay Rose. Look like a straight dog in the regular season and just freeze up in a playoff game. Not get outplayed. Not a guy just beat them. They just freeze up. It's almost like they just can't see the field. Everything is kind of foggier. You don't really know how to break that down. But I'm going to go with Rome in this one, and I'm actually going to give Rome a 14-point difference. I do think that Rome is going to another Super Bowl in the league. I think Justin James caught Austin, and congrats to him beating Austin. He probably figured out some of Austin's rhythm. I do think Rome is going to make another bowl and get to the Super Bowl. Join over to the AFC. Final game for the conference championship. Boy, Rome, you're not used to me doing that, are you? Going over to the conference championship in the AFC, we have the trying to defend his crown in Young, playing with those Kansas City Chiefs with a crazy game he had against Nike. I want to shout out Nike just for the that was a hell of a game I saw out of Nike from on both ends of the ball, just coming up short in that game against Young. And really him and Gideon both played hell of a games, in my opinion. But we're going to talk about Young and Gideon. And, I think the last game that I saw these two play in the playoffs last season, Gideon, I believe he lost by 10. It was either 14 or 10. It was one of the two. I know it was a 2-score difference in that game where pretty much Young started off, which is kind of typical. You either see one or two things out of Young. Either Young starts a game off hot or he finishes that way. It's either one or the two. And last season, Young, I believe he started the game 14-3 against Gideon. Gideon was able to finally get his footing, started scoring in the game, but then ultimately, Young, that 17 or 14 point difference was just too much for Gideon to get back into the game and compete from a possession to possession standpoint. It's kind of funny saying this, talking to the guys in the chat yesterday, or in the voice chat yesterday. You know, if you look at games from a possession perspective and you don't look at it just by score, the scores don't have this much of a meaning the same way as possessions. You lost to the guy by 2 possessions versus saying you lost by 14. Just sounds a little bit different, I believe, when you look at football. Going down, looking over here at the Kansas City Chiefs, obviously, you know what Young has built with this team. He's got Mahomes, he's got Pacheco, he's got Schwartz, he's got Chris Jones playing at DN. You know, he's got corners, 97 speed corners. He's got Creed Humphrey at center. He's got some dogs all the way around on this team. You know, as far as saying the offense or defensive side of the ball and where people stand or who would do better, or where is this game won or lost, I don't believe that's an easy answer, mainly because I think both users are pretty good on the offensive side of the ball. There's not too much of just stopping anyone completely, in my opinion. I do believe both users are just that good on that side on the offensive side of the ball. The biggest thing is going to be who handles the speed, because both of them have speed. You know, both have speed, both have, you know, a little bit of size pause at the receiver position, some decent tight ends he has here, and he's got a decent, not great, but just you know, he has an O line. Young's got an offensive line with this squad. Going over and looking at Gideon's team, which I just forgot the name, the Aviators. It's very similar setup. He's got him an X Factor or a superstar, but he's got, you know, really C.J. Stroud, that Billy DeVan Goff. It's crazy. You know, I haven't looked at this actual quarterback, just now realizing this name is actually pretty wild. But he's got him the QB. He's got him he picked up Travis Etienne actually in the offseason of this season. Got him up to a 98 overall. Obviously, it looks like that's an X factor, I believe. You know, so he's got 2 great running backs, and it's very similar to Young. He's got speed. He's got speed. He's got speed on the field. He's going to have some really decent or really good route running receivers, in my opinion. But he's got speed that he can play with on the field, and of course, very similar. He's got a tight end. I do think that both guys on the offensive side of the ball are both pretty set. I think at the end of the day, it's going to come down to who makes the most mistakes. That is literally what it's going to come down to in this game. Who makes the most mistakes loses the game. That was actually the difference in the 2 games that they played in the divisional round that they're going to have to see with each other in this conference game, is who makes the most mistakes. I do think both users on the offensive side can 100% move the football and not only just be great passers, but be decent runners. I do think that Gideon has to play more balanced than Young does on the offensive side of the ball. In my opinion, if Gideon tries to be just a passer and doesn't continue to play the same style that he played against Smitty, he is 100% going to lose this football game. No question about it. He's losing the game, and then Young will absolutely be in the bowl once more. However, if he has that consistency and just somewhat of balance, I give him just as shot as anyone. That's, in my opinion, I thought Nike gave a hell of a blueprint for playing against that style of Young's style, or the defensive style that Young plays with. You know, Young's more of a cover 4 match type of user. He's really trying to get you to throw into his user in that safety. You know, Gideon doesn't really have anything flashy defensively. He's really kind of a base style defender. And it's basically pretty much, do you know how to read a defense, yes or no? If you know how to read the defense, you're going to make a play. If you don't, you know, that's where I kind of mesh Young and Smitty in kind of a similar box on the defensive side. There's kind of a trick and what they do on the defensive side to get you to focus on that safety. So we're going to see how smart Gideon is with the football, and does he take advantage of an opportunity with Young that obviously we just saw over in Legends League, kind of his current situation. For Young, I believe he's like staying out of town or something like that, playing on. I don't know what's going on. Either way, we're playing football. So I do want to say best of luck to each user. I do have Young winning this game by 7 just because I do not believe Gideon is going to be able to hold off on the mistakes playing against Young. Now, if he holds off on the mistakes, 100% dub, no problem. I just don't know if he's going to be enough mistake-free to win this game. All right, guys, so that's the end of the show. Best of luck again to each user in this game. Hoping we get to the Super Bowl. Again, I mean, I've stated it. I'm ready to get to NCAA. I'm obviously having fun playing Madden. I think anybody that's not having fun playing Madden, they're probably just getting their ass whooping Madden, if I'm just going to be honest. But I'm enjoying it, and I hope you guys are too. But I'm about to go enjoy myself with the fam and hopefully be able to catch a few of these games live like I wasn't able to yesterday. So hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm about to hop off of here, and best man win. Peace.